Oh, poo. Wait a second, that wasn't the monster. That was the doorbell. Excuse me one moment. Thank you. Apparently it's a note from the monster. Your constant belching, burping moments in all of your Quiet Place reviews have cringed, made me feel like, oh, that's disgusting, and has offended me. Your potential thoughts of that being funny will no longer be visible to you. Well, at least it's nothing coming after me. Ah, crap. Hey guys, it's Daniel here, back with a new review, and today I'm going to be reviewing the first spin-off to John Krasinski's wildly praised horror franchise, A Quiet Place, Day 1. So, in A Quiet Place, Day 1, it takes place during the first couple of days of when the monsters crashed onto Earth and would attack and kill anything that makes a noise. And it follows a new character named Sam, her pet cat Frodo, and a man named Eric as they struggle to survive the first couple of days in the quiet apocalypse. Okay, so before I talk about what I think of this movie, I should probably discuss what I think of the previous Quiet Place movies that I've done before. I haven't seen them in a while, but I'll talk about what I remember from them. The first Quiet Place film, I really liked. I thought it was a really unique kind of horror movie. It's short, it's fastly paced, but it does give you time with the characters, and without even needing to say a single word, you can read into the thoughts of the characters. The second film, love even more. That's a fantastic horror sequel. I mean, it expands things more. We get to see the family out of their home and journeying in the world beyond and discovering new characters along the way. I like Cillian Murphy's character, and I like the performance of the daughter because she definitely gets more to do in that movie. So, love the second one. Love A Quiet Place Part 2. And, you know, we don't have a Part 3 yet, but this franchise will give us something to live on the side, being a spin-off prequel movie focusing on a new group of characters during the first couple of days in this apocalypse. And I thought that was a pretty good idea. It would be interesting to see how other people are doing in apocalypse. Kind of like how they were trying to do with the first 3 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead compared to The Walking Dead. And I was very interested to see the movie. Lupita Nyong'o? I can't remember her name, I'll put her name right here, but she'll be having quite the year this year for movies. I mean, she's in this one, and she's going to be voicing the main character in The Wild Robot. We got Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things, and I didn't even know he was a British actor, so that'll be interesting. So, I finally watched A Quiet Place Day 1, I was very interested to see it, and what do I think of it? I don't think it's as good as the first two, but I thought it was really good and very gripping. It's very interesting to see a different kind of location, focusing on new groups of characters. Like, the decision to set this in the city, I thought was really awesome, because there can be a lot of monsters in a big city, so there's a higher stake to be quiet and to be careful in trying to escape them. And we also get to see how more people are responding to the apocalypse, and how there's more people like sticking together, because where Sam and Eric go through, they have to think about like possibly joining up with other people, or they're trying to build trust among each other. And the way that these characters are written is very interesting, because when we first get to meet them, I mean, first off we have our main character Sam, played by Lupita Nyong'o. I still don't... I think I'll have to watch a video to learn how to pronounce that, but again, I'll put her name right here. But I thought that actress was really good, because when we first meet her, we're not exactly sure what her mindset is, although we do understand why she is like that way, because of like the background she's in at the beginning of the movie, but she does start off a little bit selfish, and she does kind of make a few rude responses to other people. But I really like that as the movie goes on, and as we think about how she was, like, in her position at the beginning of the movie, compared to what we find out about her later on, it makes a ton more sense, and it makes her character a bit more sympathetic as the movie goes on. And then we have Eric, played by Joseph Quinn, and I thought that he also did a fantastic job. I honestly forgot that that was Eddie Munson, because, first of all, he's speaking with his British accent in the few parts where he does get to speak. And again, I didn't know he was a British actor. I always get fooled by people I've seen in American shows, which is the first stuff I've seen their work, without knowing that they're actually British. You know, Andrew Lincoln, Lenny James, Millie Bobby Brown, all that stuff. But I thought he was really good in this movie, and he seemed quite humble and very likeable. I did want to get to know him a bit more, and when we see how he is later on in the movie, we do feel sympathetic. And I like the interaction between him and Sam. I thought the interaction between the two was really good, because at first, Sam, understandably, has a bit of distrust into letting Eric join her, but again, it's understandable, because, again, her background at the beginning, and also when you're in the days of the apocalypse, you're not exactly sure who to trust, so I get why Sam is like that. I also would understand why Eric is having to come across Sam and go along with her on this journey, because, you know, we need company in the apocalypse if we're going to survive, so two is better than one. And I think that when they get to learn more about each other and discover their different mindsets and backgrounds and backstories, it is very interesting and leads to some emotional moments. Although one of the standout characters I can say in this movie, you're gonna have to bear with me on this, Frodo. Yep, Frodo the cat. I know, I'm talking about a real-life cat in a review of a movie, but I gotta say, Frodo is a very intelligent feline, because he also has, like, the intelligence to know what is going on. And while you may say it's unrealistic, I guess some animals do have different mindsets, and in this case, Frodo has the mindset to survive, and also, he's just darn cute. I own dogs, but I can feel cuteness towards cats as well. I feared if he was in peril or not. I really like the bond that he shares with Sam, and the friendship that he'll eventually share with Eric. And Frodo the cat was definitely one of the major characters that I was rooting for to survive. I wanted him to make it out of the situation. Does he make it out of the situation? Of course I can't say, so you just have to go watch the movie and find out. Now, just because this is a spin-off and a prequel to A Quiet Place, doesn't mean there aren't a few tie-ins, because of course we've got the aliens, but as shown in the trailers, we also have the return of Digimon Houston's character? Again, I'll put his name right here. Like, some of these names are hard to pronounce, but we have the return of his character from the second movie, and I thought he was still really good in this one, because he definitely gets into, in a very quick way, he quickly adapts to how to survive against these monsters. He adapts to the staying quiet and not making a sound, and he came off as quite a bit of a leader in the scenes he was in, and just like Frodo the cat, I was rooting for him to survive. Now, without giving too much away, you might already know the answer if you've seen the second movie, but I'm not going to say anything, but I thought he was really great in this one, and I felt like that he was definitely a leader. Like, if I was stuck in a situation and he was meant to be a leader, I wouldn't be having a problem, because I would definitely look up to him as my survival bodyguard. Now, going back to the movie sets in a city, I just gotta say, the visuals and cinematography, like, they are masterful. I mean, there's a literal 20-second shot where you see Sam, Eric and Frodo walking through the city, and there's like a big long take as the camera's going around them to reveal where they are and where they are in the city and like the big city that's surrounding them. And I thought that that shot was definitely, I think it was probably my favourite shot of the movie. I thought that was a fantastic shot. And just like the other Quiet Place movies, it definitely still has its heart, because we do get to learn more about characters. We get to see how their mindset is compared to the beginning and the end, and realising that their personalities aren't quite different compared to then as it is now, but they still have that conscience in them to help them bond with each other a bit more, and we get to learn more about characters in terms of like their backstories. I felt deep-hearted. I really felt for the characters, and there were a few emotional scenes. And what I really like about this movie is that it seems very simplistic. When I say simplistic, what I mean is that it doesn't really have a first act, second act, or third act. Like, there's no, like, big scene at the beginning of the second act that leads to, like, an argument and all that stuff before the climax. No, it's just very simple, and even if there is a climax, which there is, it doesn't really last too long because there's just simplistic scenes right before that climax happens. And I thought it really worked because it keeps us in reality, and we get to realistically follow these characters as they begin to bond with each other. And I thought that that was a really great decision on the new director's part. And even though John Krasinski doesn't direct this movie, I gotta say the new director for the movie did a fantastic job directing it and helping the story to really come to life. And the last thing I gotta say that I absolutely loved about this one is the score. They use multiple themes for the emotional moments, and that's... I always keep doing that. Like, when I talk about a score, I usually love the emotional moments whenever there's emotional moments in a score, but it's true. They really sound very heartbreaking and sound very, like, alerting, like you don't want anything to happen to the characters, and I thought that the score, orchestrated by whoever orchestrated it, fit the mood perfectly. I really enjoyed the movie for the most part. I mean, I did have a couple little problems. I mean, there are a few moments where I felt like I was in kind of a deja vu, because yes, it's familiarity for everybody to stay quiet in this apocalypse, to not get eaten by the monsters, but there are a few like similar little moments where I'm just like, that is kind of like how it was in the first two movies, and there are a few moments where I felt like there wasn't too much going on, and I didn't really, I was just saying like, it's pretty good, that, but not the greatest. And I will admit that the beginning of the movie was a little bit... It was okay, but not great. But I gotta say, besides those few problems, I really enjoyed A Quiet Place Day 1. I don't think, again, it's as good as the main series of films. Like, the first two movies are just excellent. But I gotta say, for a prequel movie and a spin-off to focus on new characters, I think they did what they needed to do. And whether or not there's something follow-up after this one, I still think that they did what they needed to do in this one. The acting is fantastic, the cinematography is great. It really felt like the spirit of the first two films brought it out into a city, and again, fantastic locale. The score was great, and I felt the emotions for every single character in these grim times. And that's why I'm going to give the movie 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's definitely worth the watch, and if you love A Quiet Place, I think you should definitely go check this movie out. But anyway guys, what do you think of this movie? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's not as good as the first two? And what is your favourite spin-off to a film series or TV show in general? Let me know in the comment section below. More videos to come, and... yeah, I'm being quiet. I mean, come on, like... the opening burping moments is like tradition in my Quiet Place reviews. Like, the Quiet Place review was like the second review I did and the third video I ever did. And I do that every time a Quiet Place movie comes out. It's tradition. Oh well, I'll still keep doing it. I don't think that monster really appreciated it. Peace out, man.